Welcome to Hangin with Heid. I'm Heidi Jo Lopez. So today, sticking with the original plan of the last two videos, I'm going to tell you about some more amazing things that God has done in my life. Now, I need to confess that I can't quite figure out where to put my eyes. Every now and then I can see when I play the video back that I'm looking right at you. So just please have grace for me if my eyes are not looking at you. I'm trying to look at you. So anyway, I digress. So I am going to start. I know I've mentioned before that I have food allergies, and what I haven't shared probably is so I was born with severe food allergies, and it took my mom, I think, a few months to actually figure out what I could eat. And so my first few months of life were very painful, and because I cried a lot because I was in so much pain, and it was really hard on my mom. I can't imagine, because every time she tried to feed me something that the doctor would say, well, maybe she can keep this down, maybe this will set her, it wouldn't, and I would scream and double up in pain. And thankfully at that time, excuse me, allergies today, thankfully at that time my food allergies didn't kill me, otherwise I wouldn't be here. So I'm still only here by the grace of God anyway. So over a short period of time, my allergies became very severe, and I have been since birth, and I don't even like to talk about it because I know that God has given me a promise that He has healed me, and in the moment that He tells me to go and eat chicken, because that's really what I want to eat first, that I will go and do it, and I'll be fine, and I will have no fear. So when I say what I'm going to say, I'm not giving credence to it in my life. But since birth, my body has rejected eggs, chicken, and turkey. Always. So those things have not been in my diet my whole entire life. My mom discovered that shortly after, back in the day. One of the first things you gave a kid at like 9 months was eggs. Now, of course, they tell you not to do that, hoping that kids won't develop food allergies, blah, blah, blah. But I'll keep this short. So eggs, chicken, and turkey, my whole life, nope, haven't had it. My whole life, the only thing out of those three that I have wanted is fried chicken, because it smells so good. I'm not kidding. I mean, there are times I thought, hey, little EpiPen, parking lot of the ER, eat some chicken, maybe even be in, the wheelchair at the door, eat the chicken, take the Epi, roll me in. I mean, that's how much I'd like to eat chicken. So anyway, I know you're laughing at me going, wow. So anyway, that's what I started out with. By the time I was 15, avocados were added to that, latex, which isn't a food, but it's connected to a lot of foods, avocados, blah, blah, blah. So avocados and salmon. By the time I was into my early 20s, no fish whatsoever. By the time I married my husband at 24, I was now becoming allergic to multiple foods. By the time I was about 26 or 7, I was allergic to about 85% of foods. Well, probably 75, but at one time in my life I was allergic to about 85% or so of foods, to the point where there was I couldn't eat most vegetables. I couldn't eat beef anymore. The only food I've always been able to eat is pork and lobster and crab and shrimp. Those things I've always been able to eat. and pretty much everything else off the table meat wise. I had lost almost every vegetable, including some of my very, very favorite vegetables like tomatoes, which to not be able to eat tomatoes seems like a crime or a sin. So no mushrooms, no cabbage, almost anything you can think of. So I got to the point to where I was quite ill, and I had to go to a food specialist, a nutritionist. Hello. Anyway, I had to go to a nutritionist because before that time I was thin, not so thin now. I was thin, and I was trying to eat the things that I normally would eat and stick with that calorie base. And then I got so sick, and I couldn't eat almost all the foods that I used to eat to keep myself in that weight scale. And so then I had no energy. I could get really lightheaded and pass out. So I went to the nutritionist, and she told me, because of all the foods I was missing and all of the nutrients and things that I no longer was getting in my body, that I now had to increase my calorie intake to 3,000 calories a day. And I was like an 8 to 1,200 calories a day kind of person. And so needless to say, a lot changed in my life. I did start to feel better. I actually had to have tablespoons of organic olive oil because of things that it was putting back into my system, and there were all kinds of things. It was very difficult, and a very dark, depressing time. And as I always have done with my allergies, I've just accepted it. I just accepted it, and it was part of my life and my lot in life, and I was going to love Jesus anyway, which I did. But I'll be honest with you, it was exhausting, and it went on for years. And my allergist was to the point to where he was worried. He thought I was just going to one day wake up and not be able to have any food and die. And what would they do? So my life has literally been trusting God every day for my life, my day in and day out life. And I actually never really thought of that until one day, a long time ago. Pastor Merv Peterson, who was my pastor at the time, also spiritual father, miss him. He's in heaven right now, has been for far too long for me, but I'm very excited for him. But anyway, one day from the pulpit, he said he used to use me as an analogy from time to time, and he was talking about me, and he was talking about, I think it was a good thing, but it hit me hard. And he was talking about, trusting God, and how diligent we are to trust God, and this and that. And he said, well, take Heidi, for instance. She, every single day, she trusts God with her life. She could die every day. It took me back. I mean, it hit me hard, and I thought, I could die every day. And yes, it's true. I could, but I never thought of it that way. And actually, it kind of paralyzed me for a little while, and it was okay. I needed to deal with it. I also think God wanted to shock me into saying, how come you don't ever ask me to heal you? And then a December came around near my birthday. God likes to do things on my birthday. He knows it's important to me. So December, many, many years ago, came around, and all of a sudden I was starting to have allergic reactions to corn, and something else that I can't remember. Oh, I had lost potatoes. Seriously? No fries? Come on, people. And so that was difficult. And for some reason, the corn was the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't even particularly like corn, but it meant that I already couldn't eat flour tortillas. So I was never allergic to gluten, but I could no longer have wheat. And so I was going to lose corn tortillas too. Serious? Come on. It was difficult. And I know I'm making light of it now, but it was difficult. And I had a serious come to Jesus moment, and I told God what I thought. Thankfully, he can handle it. I was upset. And I finally said, no doctors can help me, because I'd already tried multiple places. I called this huge hospital, whatever, supposed to be the end-all be-all of food allergies, blah, blah, blah. I called them, and they basically said, well, what do you want us to do? And I'm like, well, your website says you can help all this stuff. And they're like, well, we can't do anything for you. We can tell you what you're allergic to. I'm like, I already know what I'm allergic to, people. So anyway, so I told God, I said, this is not what you've called me to, that you've called me to do great things. You've called me to speak to the nations. You've called me to do all these things. If I can't eat food, how in the world am I supposed to even do all these things? And a couple years before that, he told me that I should start studying herbs and medicinal medicine and all of those things. And I bought these books right away because I was obedient. Bought these 2 books, matter of fact, that are now holding up the iPad at the right height. Because they're huge. They're like this big. Anyway, and I looked at them and it was daunting. And it was too much for me. And I put them away in my library. And they gained some dust probably. And so there I was. And I told God, I said, if I'm going to survive this world, then you're going to need to do something. And yes, I was that blatant and probably too aggressive. But he spoke something clear to my heart, and he said, I told you to look up medicinal things. Because the problem was, I wasn't only having issues with the allergies, I was also having this severe fatigue, and we couldn't figure it out. We figured it was all connected, but anyway, long story short, it wasn't, and I don't really want to go there right now, but God is great in all of this. I started looking those things up. I started researching, and it wasn't, and yes, I did zero out my body, and God bless him, over a period of time, he would tell me, okay, the first thing he told me to eat, so it took about 6 months. I put myself on a very, very special diet, and I zeroed out my body. I followed a very strict medicinal regimen of like oregano oils and things like that. It was things I could just grow in my yard, and I learned how to make tinctures, and I learned how to make oils, you know, medicinal oils, oregano oil, thyme oil, calendula oil, you know, all of these things. And I took all toxins out of our system. I now make our own laundry soap and dish soap and blah, blah, blah. So I was detoxifying my body, our life, our household. And so I did that. And then I zeroed out my food, and I put myself on a very, very, very specific diet that really wasn't any fun. And I did it for several months to try to zero out my system. God began to tell me things I could add back to my body. One night we were going to go have dinner with some friends. And yes, that sounds funny, but I would tell my husband, I said, I still want to go out and eat. I know I can't eat, but I want to go. I don't want to be punished. Like I can't go to dinner with friends because I can't eat. And they're like, well, we feel bad. I'm like, so you're going to take away my experience because you feel bad if I don't care? And so people were great. People learned, and I just would go. And sometimes there was something I could have, like black beans, woo, with a little salt on them. You know, but hey, I was just happy to eat something. So we were going to go with our friends, the Salgados, and God said, you're going to eat French fries tonight. And I was like, and I didn't hear it audibly, but I heard it so clear in me, it just resonated. And I was so excited, and I was standing in our kitchen when he told me, and I was super excited. And so I ran into our bedroom where Sam was getting ready, and I said, honey, God just told me I'm eating potatoes tonight. He got super excited with me. We were both so excited, And he's like, I believe it. I know what's going to happen. So we go to dinner. Long story short, I tell them, I get to eat potatoes tonight. I get to eat French fries. I'm super excited. And we're not so excited. They're like, do you have your EpiPens? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going to need them. It's going to be great. Sam's going to pray. I'm going to eat them. It's all going to be good. But they were worried I might drop dead there at the table, which could happen. And so anyway, I did. I ate French fries. Sam prayed. I ate them. I was fine. We had to have them without any seasoning on them because I couldn't eat paprika, because I couldn't have bell peppers, and so paprika was in the sea salt or the seasoning salt. So anyway, oh my gosh, I hadn't had potatoes in, I don't know, a couple years. It was so fantastic, and it was just amazing. And so from that point on, God just started adding the foods backwards. And so this is how amazing God is. I'm sharing this because I want you to know that sometimes God will heal instantly, because I've been healed instantly. And I'll share those stories. I mean, God raised me from the dead. So I'll share that story. And it was amazing. And, you know, God has done amazing things in my life. And he saved me so many times. And up to that point, you know, when Pastor Merv had said that I face death every day, I never really thought of it. But, you know, in a sense, we all do. We all face death every day. And so in it, you know, maybe you don't tangibly think about it because you don't think of, you know, a car accident could happen, you know, something bad could happen instantly. But it could. And I'm not trying to put something on you. What I'm trying to say is, so we should live each day to the fullest. You know, we're supposed to live each day believing that God is great and doing everything he's asking us to do in that day. And so since I've walked this place in my life for years and years and years, and by the way, I'm only allergic to the original things I was born allergic to, and I can't have avocados yet. But you know what? I'm to here, and it is so fantastic. And so when God started putting in me this last year, 2020, that he's going to heal me fully, I knew it. I knew it. And the reason I could know it is because he has been so real in my life, and he has healed me so many times in my life that I can stand on that. So I can stand on the promises of God, my Savior. I can truly stand on those promises. And I believe it because he has shown himself faithful so many times in my life. So this is what we're doing today. This is what this whole series is of the Hangin with Heids. And I'm going to end this one, and I'm going to start another one. And I'll tell you about when God saved me and brought me back from death when I was 15 years old. So don't look at all this garbage that's happening, this darkness and all the lies of the enemy that are swarming around us right now, and believe that God is not a God who fulfills his promises. I'm telling you, I put my life in God's hands every single day. Every single day. My life. Because if I don't carry, in my past, if I haven't carried those EpiPens with me, I would not be here today. Multiple times, I don't know how much epinephrine has been injected into me. I have been in ERs all over the place, in other states, not other nations, other states, all kinds of stuff. Literally, I am a walking miracle by the grace of God. Lots of my allergist asked me, he goes, how do you do it? How do you do this every day? And I said, by the grace of God go I. And it's true. And I don't say that flippantly. I don't. And I don't think about it on the forefront of my mind all the time. And I'm not saying that I haven't been there. There was a time when Satan paralyzed me and I wouldn't go anywhere. And in 2011 or 12, I think it was 2012. In 2012, I on purpose, I said, I want to go on a trip. And Sam and I took a trip to the East Coast, and I planned it. And at that time, I wasn't allowed, I couldn't eat anything. I could eat hardly anything. We had to, but I was like, there's grocery stores, there's health food stores all over the United States. And we went, and the first thing we bought was an ice chest. And then we went to these health food stores that I'd researched, and we filled it up. And because I wanted to break the chains off of the lies of the enemy, that I couldn't leave my own home because I could die. And I'm like, I'm sorry. That's not who my God is. So looking around right now, do not stop believing that God isn't going to resurrect us, isn't going to rescue us, that God has a plan, and his plan is to absolutely have this massive awakening, this revival that we've never seen before. We are absolutely going to see billions saved and come to Christ, and we're going to see healings like we've never seen. Lord, may they start with me right now in Jesus' name. And I pray every single day for the healing of my mom from Parkinson's, because in May of last year, God said, I want you to start praying for me to heal your mom. I'm going to give her Lazarus moment. And I believe it. And my mom has Parkinson's with dementia, and she's had many strokes that nearly took her life. But you know what? I'm trusting God for that. I'm standing. And yeah, I'm sure Satan's going to try to attack me because I'm saying this out on video, but I don't care. I've got to stand, right? He is either who he says he is or he isn't. Jesus is either the Son of God or he isn't. And I believe he is the Son of God. He has transformed my life since I was 6 years old. He has saved me multiple times. He has revealed himself to me. He has showed me his angels. I have seen the enemy in the flesh with my own eyes. He is God. God is who he says he is. And so if I can trust God every single day with my life, every day, no matter, and I eat out at restaurants, I say all the right things, I ask all the right questions, and if God gives me peace, I pray and I trust him. That's how I live my life. And it's normal for me. You know, I would love to live the life where I didn't have to worry, but that's okay. And I don't worry about it. I actually don't worry about it. That was the wrong word, where I don't have to think about it. But you know what? It's coming. It's coming. And I can't wait to testify on Hangin' with Heid when it happens. Matter of fact, I might eat some chicken on here one day, and I'm super excited about that. So be blessed. Know that God is on the throne. Know that he is mighty and just and able to do everything he says he's going to do. Do not stop believing that he is who he says he is, and keep standing. Be blessed.